cartels are waging war on America, and just as I promised in the campaign, we're waging war on them like they've never seen before. All you have to do is turn on your television and you'll see what's happening to them.
After federal agents stormed Valle Gomez in Mexico City at dawn, inside the safe house, a handwritten notebook was found. Its pages were filled with women's names, some as young as 19, trapped in a sex trafficking network, along with the amounts they owed and the streets where they were forced to work. Across Mexico City, that same morning, more raids were being carried out. 6 Tren de Aragua members were arrested, as well as 4 CJNG bosses, including the man running operations in Guadalajara, and over 30 criminals were put behind bars. In just a few hours, Trump and Sheinbaum had crushed a major criminal network, and now everyone was asking the same question. Was Mexico proving it could finally handle its cartel problem? Or had Trump's military intel finally partnered with Sheinbaum? Just recently, Trump and Sheinbaum had discussed their collaboration against cartels, but Trump's patience was wearing thin. Days before the arrests, he told Fox News that America had eliminated 97% of drugs coming by water. Now it was time to hit cartels on Mexican soil. The statement was a threat barely disguised as a policy redirection.
We've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by water, and we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country.
Trump's administration had already conducted 35 maritime strikes in the Caribbean, killing 114 individuals. In September 2025 alone, the U.S. Navy sank 2 suspected drug vessels in the southern Caribbean, killing 14 people.
As the U.S. Navy continues to blow alleged drug trafficking boats out of the waters off South America, killing those inside, the tactic now faces growing scrutiny. Members of the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives have launched inquiries into a reported second strike on one boat on September 2nd that killed survivors of an initial attack. The Washington Post reports that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered that everyone on board be killed. The Pentagon now confirms that an admiral did order that second strike, but isn't saying whether that was on Hegseth's orders. The U.S. Attorney General insists the strikes are legal.
They are narco-terrorists. What you're showing on the screen right now are terrorists, and they are being blown up.
Critics in Congress are calling them something else entirely.
Expanding the area of operation to the Mexican mainland would be an unprecedented violation of sovereignty. Sheinbaum knew it. That's why she immediately requested the phone call. During that conversation, Trump made his position clear. The United States could provide assistance if Mexico requested it, but the subtext was obvious. Work with us to act on our intel, or we'll do it ourselves.
Mexico is saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartel. She wants to know, is that true? Do you think I'm going to answer that question?
That's why I'm asking.
I will answer it. It's true.
Sheinbaum refused to blink. She reiterated that Mexico is a sovereign nation and any deployment of foreign troops is unacceptable. But she did give Trump something. She made a promise that Mexico would prove it could handle its own cartel problem. A problem that had left many dead in the streets and had even gone so far as to target military officers and politicians.
In general, he insists on the U.S. military being involved, and we always tell him that is not necessary. We are very clear about defending our territory, plus our collaboration is currently working.
On May 1st, 2015, Mexican military forces were using helicopters to hunt for El Mencho, the leader of CJNG. As one helicopter flew low over the convoy protecting El Mencho, gunmen used a Russian-made rocket launcher to shoot down the helicopter's tail, crashing it to the ground, killing 9 people on board. It was the first time in Mexico's drug war that a cartel had shot down a military aircraft. But CJNG wasn't done proving it was above the law. A year later, a judge paid the ultimate price for standing in their way. On October 17, 2016, federal judge Vicente Bermudez Zacarias went out for his morning jog near his home in Metepec, just outside Mexico City. A lone gunman approached him on the quiet street and shot the judge multiple times in the head and chest.
So he's jogging there. This is really weird. But, oof, taken out. And he died in broad daylight.
Federal Judge Vicente Antonio Zacarias was shot at close range when he was exercising near his house in the state of Mexico. Now, this was a judge that was involved in several high-profile cases, especially involving leaders of drug gangs in the country. Most importantly, that of El Chapo Joaquin Guzman, formerly Mexico's most wanted man before being captured by the authorities. He's been trying to fight getting extradited to the United States, and in the particular process that this judge was involved in, he did succeed, or his lawyers succeeded, in delaying that extradition. Our producer talked to those lawyers just now, who told us that there was no reason for them to be involved in the killing of this judge. They effectively got what they wanted from the part of the process that the judge was involved in. He was also involved in the case of a local gang leader who, in cahoots with local police, abducted over 40 Mexican students. Those students were never seen again.
Judge Bermudez Zacarias died at the scene. But what was it that led to him being in their crosshairs? Just months before his murder, the judge had been handling the extradition case of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the notorious leader of the Sinaloa cartel. In May 2016, Bermudez Zacarias had temporarily suspended El Chapo's extradition to the United States while reviewing an appeal. The killing of Bermudez Zacarias was not the only time Mexican cartels took law into their hands. In June 16, 2020, a federal judge and his wife were killed in Colima. Gunmen fired nearly 20 rounds at Judge Uriel Villegas Ortiz and his wife, Veronica Barajas, as they left their residence, unaliving them both.
Judge Uriel Villegas Ortiz, who was murdered along with his wife Veronica Barajas yesterday in Colima, did have federal protection while he served as a judge in the state of Jalisco, but he resigned from it in March 2019. This was revealed by officials from the federal judicial branch. They explained that the protection was granted to him for 2 years, that is, starting in 2017, due to the violence prevailing in that state, dominated by the Jalisco Nueva Generación cartel.
And just few days after that day, on June 26, 2020, in one of Mexico City's wealthiest neighborhoods, a public works truck and a white Suburban suddenly blocked an intersection on Paseo de la Reforma.
8 men armed with 50 caliber rifles popped up from the truck bed and opened fire.
Their target was Omar Garcia Harfuch, Mexico City's chief of police, and the man now leading the fight against cartels as Mexico's security minister. The armored SUV carrying Garcia Harfuch was riddled with bullets. 2 of his bodyguards were killed. A woman driving to work was caught in the crossfire and died. Garcia Harfuch was shot 3 times but survived. From his hospital bed, he blamed the attack on CJNG. 12 suspects were arrested that same day, while CJNG enforced its power through murder, eliminating anyone who stood in their way. Their partners, Trendy Aragua, were building their own empire through the trafficking of women and drugs.
Just after sunrise, in a wooded area in the south of Mexico City, passers-by noticed something unusual on the side of the quiet dirt track. They went to investigate and found a horrific scene. Hidden among the trees were burned remains of 2 women. Immediately, the police were called, and through the small tattoo on one forearm, the 2 women were identified. 19-year-old Stephanie and 20-year-old Susage.
Hours earlier, in the early morning of July 30th, 2024, the 2 women had been killed while inside a white Renault moving through the empty streets of San Miguel Topilejo on the outskirts of Mexico City. Afterward, their bodies were dumped in the forest as a warning meant to be seen. But weeks earlier, Stephanie and Susage had arrived in Mexico City from Maracaibo, Venezuela, chasing the same promise that pulls thousands of young women north every year. Instead, they were taken in by Tren de Aragua. The gang accused them of owing $15,000, which investigators later said was fake and designed to trap them. They were kept inside a rented house in the Azcapotzalco area of the city and forced into sexual exploitation. Authorities later found their clothes and personal items still inside. Police say the house was under constant watch and the women were controlled through fear and threats. The deaths of Stephanie and Susage forced Mexico City's mayor to admit in February 2025 that Tren de Aragua was actively running sex trafficking operations in the city. The investigation into the murders led to several arrests, including the group's main operator in Mexico, who authorities say ordered the killings. investigators also discovered that Tren de Aragua wasn't operating alone. Authorities uncovered a growing partnership with CJNG, and several of those arrested were key intermediaries, linking both criminal networks. Over time, this alliance expanded, leaving a trail of violence, exploitation, and shattered lives. And it was this escalation and partnership of two ruthless organizations that finally forced Trump and Sheinbaum to act. The arrests in Mexico City started with months of surveillance on several buildings in the capital's Valle Gomez and Iztapalapa neighborhoods. Federal security forces, with the intelligence provided by the United States Intel, took the gang by surprise. According to Security Minister Omar Garcia Harfuch, what they found painted a portrait of modern slavery: drugs, weapons, stacks of cash, and a single notebook that recorded extortion that spread throughout the entire city. Women's debts were carefully cataloged, threats issued, and payments extracted from victims who had nowhere left to run. Among those arrested was Leslie Valerie Flores Arrieta, who investigators say collected money from women forced into prostitution. She also allegedly served as the bridge between Tren de Aragua and La Unión Tepito, one of Mexico City's most violent local gangs. Brian Betancourt Oliveira was also taken into custody. Authorities identified him as the central figure who arranged the safe houses where the gang held the women, counted the money, and determined who stayed and who was moved to the next city. But the real coordination was happening 300 miles away. In Jalisco, 4 alleged CJNG members were seized, including the cartel boss, who commanded operations across Guadalajara. In Tepic, another key figure was captured. He was the logistics coordinator who'd been orchestrating low-key flights made by small aircraft from Central America to secret landing strips scattered across 3 Mexican states, a ghost network that involves moving bodies and contraband through the night sky.
Este momento es identificar por dónde puede estar esta posible sucesión. Por lo que respecta al seguimiento de la investigación, esta no tiene límites, vamos a estar al pendiente, siendo en estos momentos puesto a disposición.
Since January 20th, 2025, the Mexican authorities have charged over 260 Tren de Aragua members, constituting a declaration of war against an organization that operates without borders. Security experts now confirm what many feared. Tren de Aragua has spread across 11 Mexican states: Chiapas, Quintana Roo, Tabasco, Veracruz, Hidalgo, Puebla, Estado de Mexico, Guanajuato, Mexico City, Tamaulipas, and Chihuahua. It's like cancer spreading through the nation's bloodstream. In these territories, the Venezuelan gang has not just immersed themselves, they have forged tactical partnerships with local criminal cells, and most dangerously, with established cartels like CJNG. This recent raid in Mexico City has been followed by a broader crackdown aimed at stopping their operations throughout Mexico. But those who study these organizations know the truth. When you cut off one head, 2 more are already growing in the shadows. These recent arrests prove one thing: Tren de Aragua and CJNG can no longer operate in the shadows like they once did. But this arrest is far from a real victory. The cartels are deeply rooted in Mexico's political and economic system. Catching dozens, even hundreds of members is nothing in strategic terms. These organizations employ tens of thousands across the nation. A 2023 study revealed cartels have between 160,000 and 185,000 people on their payroll. These arrests represent less than 0.02% of that army, meaning there are many still out there and more willing to take their place. Now, the discovery of that notebook in Valle Gomez, filled with the names of young girls being trafficked, had changed everything. The federal authorities could no longer look away from the worsening crisis unfolding all over Mexico. But the real question remains: will they continue to take this seriously? Is Claudia Sheinbaum truly dismantling cartel power, or simply buying time to avoid U.S. intervention? And does Trump's terrorist designation weaken these organizations, or does it just force them deeper underground, where they've always thrived? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you want more in-depth videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And right now, click on any of the cards on your screen to continue watching.